Now, look, welcome to the pod, by the way, everyone. Jamie's gone, but filling in for Jamie is an all-star.
Boys cast, baby.
It's a boys cast. You know him as a comedian, podcaster. What other things do you go by?
I think that's about it.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
It's Josh Potter, ladies and gentlemen. Rob, you've been on his podcast a couple times.
First guest ever.
The first ever?
Yeah, first ever guest.
Wow. Well, it's an honor to have you.
I ever had. And I'd love you to come back when you get back in LA too.
Yeah, I'd love to. You're also known as a Bills fan.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know. Is that like a personality trait?
Here's the thing. I have a question.
Yeah. Ooh, okay.
I have a question about the Bills because I have a very close friend of mine who is a huge Bills fan. I'm like, really? I've got this guy, Josh Potter, coming in. He's a Bills fan. What's something I can ask him to verify?
Let's go.
To make sure. Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask you a question here. There's two of them. Actually, there's just one. So this is a pass fail.
Okay.
The Bills famously lost a Super Bowl on a missed field goal. Was it wide left or wide right?
What is this, kindergarten?
Yeah.
It's wide right, baby. I mean, that's like...
Okay.
That's like, what color are the Bills' colors?
Okay.
Ask Kasim that question.
Oh, I know what it is. It's blue and red and white.
There you go. Like America.
Yeah.
I tuned into football. I'm back when the Bills were in the Super Bowl against the Cowboys.
Well, yeah, that was
the Jim Kelly era.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Look, I'm not a complete fool.
Kelly.
Yeah. Well, actually, here's a second question.
Okay.
All right. Most fans call it Ralph Williams Stadium.
Ralph Wilson Stadium.
I just read it wrong.
Yeah.
That's how dumb I am. Most fans call it Ralph Wilson Stadium. But what is the current name of the Buffalo Bills Stadium?
It's Highmark Stadium.
That's correct.
Which is a stupid name. It's like Blue Cross and Blue Shield Highmark Stadium.
Let me ask you, are these easy questions?
Yeah, that was
for anyone.
I don't know if it's for anyone.
Okay.
I love football, so I know many other teams' stadiums as well.
Yeah.
But I might have gotten that wrong because the Bills have had some name changes over the last couple of years.
Okay. Hey, before we get started with the pod, quick word from one of our sponsors. This week we have Mack Weldon on. The holiday season is here. And with it comes the yearly questions of what do I wear to a non-ugly sweater party? And how do I maximize my time savoring holiday moments and minimize my time shopping for gifts? Fear not, wary holiday wanderer. Mack Weldon has all the answers, whether it's an office party, a party with family and friends, or just a holiday party of you, your couch, and a game on TV. Mack Weldon has all the essentials to keep you stylish and comfortable throughout the season. And their innovative daily wear system has taken the hard work out of outfit planning with pieces designed to work together for any occasion, saving you time and sparing you any extra holiday stress. Robbie, what's on your head?
Guys, sometimes you get sponsors that you're fucking thrilled about. I've been wearing Mack Weldon underwear for years, and to be honest, I never would have known that I loved their other stuff if they weren't a sponsor, because they gave us a little money to spend and we spent it. I got this hat. I've been wearing it every day around New York. It's the perfect beanie. If you order this beanie and you tell me you don't like it, I think you're lying, because I've been wearing it every day. I love it. They also got these like thick wool socks that are perfect to wear around this apartment because it's cold in New York. I'm super stoked that Mack Weldon is a sponsor on the pod. Their stuff is great. For 20% off your first order, visit MackWeldon.com/pajama and enter promo code pajama. That's MackWeldon.com/pajama, promo code pajama, 20% off. Get it right this holiday season, guys.
You mentioned when you came in here, you're thinking about maybe moving, or you're looking at places.
Desperately trying to move. I still live in the same apartment I moved into when I first got here. So it's a situation I desperately want to get out of, and I can't wait to do it. I'm looking at places actively now, so I'm excited.
What part of town are you looking? You can be vague about it.
The West Side.
Thank you.
Yeah,
we love the West Side
because that's where I work out of too, so it'd be closer for me. So.
Yeah. Because I work on the East Side. It just took me an hour and a half to get home.
No, that's where I live, and I came over here.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Like when I go to my studio, it's a nightmare every time.
Yeah.
And coming home is
because you're in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, sometimes I feel really bad for Castle when he's driving me around.
I am his personal
That's
chauffeur.
the other thing. I don't drive either. Like, you know,
There you
like,
go.
Yeah, I'm a fellow non-driver. So, you know, I don't mind taking an Uber. I was thinking about this the other day, though. Like, how much less of a risk really is it to Uber everywhere than it is just for me to drive? Like, do I trust random strangers every day, multiple times, sometimes a day, or do I just take my life into my own hands?
It's a practice of trust every time you get in the back.
I think about that all the time, and it's like, thank God I'm a guy. You know what I mean? Like, women in Ubers has got to be a nightmare.
I can tell you, you're okay taking Ubers, but there's sometimes where I get into lifts and I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, you're drawing a distinction here.
I definitely do that too. I consider Lyft so much more janky than Uber.
It is for sure.
So if the car isn't a Prius, is the mascot car of Uber, what's the mascot car?
I don't know, but it's like probably a Corolla.
Yeah. I was going to say Tercel, Corolla. Yeah.
A Honda.
Yeah.
But it's not even the make of the car. It's like they used to have the eyelash or like mustaches.
Yeah.
Right away, I go, this is a stupid company.
They used to dress up the cars. Yeah.
I was taking one time in Vegas to Whole Foods, and like when we got off because the guy picked me up at like a really nice building, and when the guy, it was like one of the worst cars I've ever been in my whole life. And when the guy got off of the highway for Whole Foods, I just take my seat. Like I always go to that Whole Foods. So as soon as we get off the highway, I would take my seatbelt off. So like as soon as we got on the highway, I took my seatbelt off, and he looked back like, you're going to be okay. Like, you know, like thinking that I was like worried about escaping his car. And I was like, dude, please. But like the building he picked me up at was like crazy, you know?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this fucking rich white asshole.
And this isn't a matter of, I've had women drivers for Uber too, but this one was a Lyft driver and just taking forever to pick me up. Like the thing is going up, like in counting. Like I'm like, this is insane. What is she doing? Then she finally arrives. And I didn't see her picture or anything like that. And I get in the car, I'm like already boiling hot from like just waiting. I'm like, oh my God, I'm already late to this dinner. And I get into the car and she's like cute. And I'm just like so disarmed immediately. And she's like, sorry, it took so long. I'm like, that's okay.
Yeah. It's amazing how that happens.
But then I noticed how she drove and it was like no sense of urgency. We're like on the highway. People are like, vroom, vroom, right past us. And I'm just like, oh my Lord. And I still tipped her and gave her 5 stars because I'm like a simp loser. But
yeah, I feel like good looking women don't get the instruction that they need because people just give them a pass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's the Lyft for you. You know what I mean? Like I've always had chatty drivers too. And you can mark that thing, don't talk or whatever.
Yeah.
And they still just are like, oh, it says don't talk, but you know, that's for losers or whatever. They just exhaust you of energy.
I was at me and my friend used to, when I was playing poker like every day, we used to go to casinos around New York, and we would just go like one way style and not know when we were going to leave. And we're at, I think it was Foxwoods or Mohegan for like 2 weeks, and both of us just hit a wall. We're like, I don't know if we ran out of money or what, but we looked at each other. We're like, yo, we got to get the fuck out of here like now. It's like, okay. So we called the front desk and we're like, hey, can you call us a taxi? We get our bags. We're like, go downstairs, and like they didn't tell the taxi like you're going to New York City, so it's probably like a 2-hour drive or more. And it's like a woman, and we put our bags in and we're like, oh, we thought they told you like we're going to New York City. And she's like, oh, like, are you kidding me? Blah, blah. And we're like, hey, it's okay. Like, if you want to take us back. And she's like, no, it's fine. Like, I just have to stop. She actually said she had asthma, and she's like, I have to stop at my place first and get my asthma medicine, and then we'll go. And we're like, okay. Man. Yeah. So she like me and my boy are, and like, we're at the end of a 2-week bender. So we're already like sketched out, and we're sitting in the back of her car, and you could see, she goes up to her place and she leaves the front door open and the lights on. So you could just see like a silhouette of what's going on kind of inside. And all of a sudden she starts yelling, and there's like screaming, and it's some dude. And we're like, oh man. Cause we have no idea where we are now. We're like 20 minutes away from fucking Foxwoods in Pennsylvania or Connecticut.
Yeah.
And we're like, fuck. We're like, this is going to be bad. So all of a sudden, like, she's yelling, and then like I see her come out with this like big bag, and she comes out to the car and like puts it in the car. She's like, I'll be back in 1 second. She goes back into the place, comes out with what is, I'd say, a 3-month-old baby and a 3-year-old, puts the 3-year-old in the front seat, straps him in, puts a car seat in between her and that kid, and she's like, all right, we're off. Like, starts driving. And now my friend is like, again, we're on a bender. So like my friend's in the back smoking, like, you know, we're like, yo, this is so bad. And she stopped at, she's like, oh, like the kid's like crying. We got to stop at McDonald's. She's stopping at McDonald's, like the baby.
No.
She's doing like 70 on the highway. The infant starts like hysterically crying. And me and my boy are just looking at each other in the back, like, yo, what the fuck? And like the dude, like her dude is calling her the whole time, like still trying to fight and shit. And we're like, yo, we just like, I remember getting home and shutting my front door and being like, oh, thank God. Like,
yeah,
God. That is a true, story about how that should just be Lyft's like slogan is like, we're inconvenienced by you.
right. Yeah, that's right.
Every Lyft driver is like that. They're just like, oh God, it's like, why are you working right now then? If you don't want to drive somewhere.
It's an adventure. Can I ask you this? Have you ever driven?
Yeah, I used to drive. I moved here. And that's, I mean, I probably shouldn't have been driving at any point.
Let's talk about your blindness.
Yeah.
Because a lot of folks know, a lot of people from YMH know you. This is actually my first time actually meeting you. I've heard so much about you. I know that you are from Kim and Sarah, the sweetest, funniest blind man they know.
That's right. Yeah. Out of all the blind men.
How blind are you? Is it something that came on later?
I've always had glasses, and they've always been pretty astounding
since you were a kid.
Since I was a kid.
Same.
But as you grow, if you're nearsighted, you become more nearsighted because your eyes grow more oblong. So mine was like Jack. Remember that movie Jack? With Robin Williams? That's like my eyes basically, and they grew enormously oblong, and so like I had retina tears and stuff like that when I was a kid, and Jesus. So I had them.
This is a stupid question.
Yeah,
you don't feel a retina tear, right?
You don't. No,
right.
You don't.
All of a sudden,
black.
It's just it was like a curtain. Closing across the first one I ever experienced was actually in the only eye that works now, which is ironic because now it's like my good eye. And it was like 7th grade, and I was like taking a shower before school, and I just remember seeing like this like purple sort of thing going on. I thought I got like soap in my eye, but as the day progressed, it was like a black curtain was coming across my eye. I remember at one point I was like, I gotta make a phone call, and I called my mom on a payphone, and I told her, and she was like, go to the nurse. I don't know. And so I went to the nurse and like called my eye doctor, and he was like, you need to get in here now.
Yeah.
And so I went in there, and he put me in like I was in surgery the next morning.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy. Yeah.
Jesus. And that's when like surgery on eyes wasn't like, now with LASIK and shit, it seems like it's like, oh yeah, everybody's had something. But back then,
honestly, the procedure hasn't changed. Well, although I did just hear some stories, because I mean, this was again, I got this surgery between the years of 98 and like 2006, like probably 7 times. And so the first one was like the best one, actually. Saved this eye, and it's made it pretty sturdy. The time I had it over here, the guy tried to do like a different type of procedure. He was like, I'm going to laser it or whatever with lasers and shit. And he fucked it up. And so it became a little more like drastic. Like he was basically like, imagine you were wallpapering a wall, and all of a sudden like it started peeling like in the middle and shit and like all over the place, and you're just trying to like do triage on that. That's like what my retina was doing when that guy fucked it up. So then I had to do like multiple surgeries to fix that, just to keep the beautiful eye in my face as it is now, but I can't see out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
well, God bless you. I feel like my dad just recently, he had a detached retina last year.
That's what, exactly. Same thing.
And, you know, like as soon as my dad retired, by the way, as soon as he stopped going to work, it was almost an instant degradation of his body. And
that's a real thing.
One of the first things to go were his eyes.
Interesting.
Yeah. And his eyes, just like he had it in both eyes, he detached retina, and then he got cataracts. And this is, it's just like, I feel like, oh man, my eyes are already kind of red all the time. You know, I feel like that's in my future, because if I sneeze hard enough, I can feel that pressure up here.
Well, like when you are older person, that's where it happens. You know what I mean? That's where the retina's detached and all that. That's why, like, when I had it in 7th grade, the guy who did my surgery, he's like, "Can I video this? I've never like done this on a child." I was like, "Yeah, for sure."
They got you one of those auditorium.
Yeah, I was like in a medical journal or some shit. And then yeah, he's like, "This happens." They told me, they're like, straight up, "This happened. You're gonna watch a video about this, but there's gonna be all old people in it because this only really happens to old people." And cataracts was a thing where they're like, "Oh, that could help you, you know, because we removed the lens, and some people, they don't need glasses after." I'm like, "I'm gonna need glasses, guy."
Yeah, that's what. That's right. I need them. Yeah. My dad got rid of his glasses because Now his eyes, when you look at them, they look funky, like on bionic. But yeah, he can see crazy well out of those eyes. Have any of your other senses grown? You know,
I have
sometimes
sensitive hearing. I remember.
See, you got to hear about this, Robbie.
Well, and I know you guys have been talking about autism quite a bit, and I don't think this falls. I think it is, and I don't mind talking about this because he doesn't follow anything in my life because he is autistic and he's got Asperger's, my roommate, and he is constantly bothering me with sounds. Like he slams cupboard doors. He's putting dishes away like he's in a diner. Like it's just like clanging things around. Yeah. He eats cereal like he's scraping the paint off of the bottom of the bowl.
Right.
I mean, and he's doing like, he'll walk around like he's trying to break the Guinness record for clearing his throat. Just like, like a fucking velociraptor.
Sure.
Like I can't handle noises. I feel like I am like a ghost. They don't know when I'm there. They don't know when I'm gone. They have I make no sounds.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm the same way. I put on, like, if Sarah's asleep in the room, I put on these, I don't put on slippers or anything when I get up in the morning to get ready for work. I put on these sock slippers because I ninja around the house, you know, because I'm afraid any noise is going to wake her up.
I have a very soft step too. Like I walk on the balls of my feet.
I noticed that about you on their way in. A very soft-footed man.
Well, it has to do with also being blind. Like I can navigate a dark room. I won't collide into things, even if it's foreign to me, because I am like feeling my way through it.
Hands first
if it's not something that I know, but like also like I can sense my spatial awareness. So I'm not like just a klutz running into things. Although I've had moments. I did walk into a moat at one point.
Okay.
That was the best.
Yeah, that was a moment where like it was hilarious to tell the story, but it was also like I started going like, I think I'm like gonna lose my independence someday. Do you know what I mean? Like that was a moment where I was like, oh my Lord, like what does the future hold for me? Like pretty soon I'm gonna be like walking down. I can't even walk to the store anymore. Like
learning to manage daily stress and anxious thoughts is something we all want, but many of us don't know where to begin. New Mood is here to guide you to mental wellness and give you the tools you need to tackle the stress. Everybody has anxious thoughts, especially like, you know, when you're laying in bed and you're trying to sleep and you're thinking, oh, what are you going to do tomorrow? New Mood is here to help you. Tell them, Cass.
Yeah, that's right, guys. With New Mood, you'll take the journey to mental wellness one step at a time. Their guided approach teaches you the power of shifting your mindset in just a few minutes a day. With a team of dedicated coaches, you'll have the support system helping you on your journey. Here's some things about the app. It's backed by science, lessons based on psychological principles that teach you about your relationship with stress and anxiety. It's robust. It provides you with a variety of tools and techniques to try out and discover. And it holds your hand through a daily curriculum coupled with a one-on-one coach that guides and encourages you on your journey. And it's accessible and convenient. With only 10 minutes a day, you can do whenever and wherever.
So guys, worry less and feel happier. Sign up for your free trial at noom.com/pajama. That's NOOM.com/pajama.
Oh, Athletic Greens. Dude, I've been using my Athletic Greens every morning. I usually make Sarah a cup of coffee every morning, right? But now I'm making her a glass of Athletic Greens. She loves it. She loves it. She gets on her Athletic Greens and then she'll get on the bike right after. It's giving her all kinds of energy.
She's absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens.
Yeah, I have it before I go to work because I don't necessarily have the time I don't really have a big breakfast in the morning. So I'm not really getting the minerals and vitamins that I should probably be getting, but not now because I have an AG1 glass, and then they gave me a little vitamin D dropper. I put a little vitamin D in there. I mix it all up. I slam it down.
Well, this special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, aging, all these things. And what's great is like, if you see people who are just eating healthy every day and they're getting all this stuff from it, but it takes so much time. If you're a busy person, whatever, it's one scoop, bang, you throw it in a drink, whatever you want it to do. Some people throw it in water. I throw it into green juices already, like some vegetable juice, bang. It is, it's incredible.
Yeah, right now it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition, especially heading into flu and cold season. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills or supplements to look out for your health. It makes it easy. Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/pajama. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/pajama to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Can you describe what happened when you walked into the Moat?
Yeah, which castle were you sieging?
It was for Ali Makovsky's podcast, and she was in the Hollywood Hills doing it at some house. And it was dark, nighttime, and I walk into what I thought was the house. It was a yard.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately upon walking in, just like not even 2 feet ahead, is a bridge. But I saw it as something in the way.
Okay.
So I walked around it.
Yeah.
And it was, again, dark. And when I walked around what I thought was something in the way, and I was walking around it, I walked into water.
Was it a slow, gradual incline, or was it?
I walked like Mr. Bean or something.
Yeah.
Like walked straight into it.
Oh no!
Like with the casualness to the point where she thought I was doing a bit.
Josh, he commits.
Yeah, she came out. She thought she's like, was that like a Steve-O thing? But like, no, it was. I did not. I go, I am so sorry.
That'd be the lamest Steve-O bit, by the way.
My phone was in my pocket. It was a nightmare.
Oh, you poor guy.
Yeah, and then I just remember like, I did the podcast with her after that, and I'm just sitting there. I'm just like incredibly embarrassed. I can't even like look at her. You know what I mean?
You were
I'm
wet.
Like, yeah, I was soaking wet. She put towels down. She's just like,
oh.
I like went into the bathroom and like wrang my clothes out in the tub and shit, and then just did the podcast.
Oh, that's so funny.
I was like, well, I have to do it now. I can't go home and then do this again another day.
Yeah, at least you have something to talk about on the pod.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's just a moment where like no one feels cool when you're wringing the shirt out in the bathroom.
Impossible.
And I don't think there's anybody. You can't be.
I don't
cool
get embarrassed, and I was like mortified. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't get that embarrassed that much.
Well, you came in. You've been in my house before.
Yeah, that's right.
You did Shank's podcast.
Yes.
And you walked into this room. I want to know what you thought of me.
No, I like this room. I know that I listened to your podcast with Sarah and the one that you guys did on here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't find your Rocket League highlights to be autistic.
Thank you. New host of Pajama Pants.
I also have a lot of Major League Baseball, the show highlights on a reel.
People got to understand.
Hard to save, and also
exactly.
Yes.
It's always saving.
Yes.
You just tell it which part
you just
want.
Push a button and go, that was cool.
Yeah. That's right.
I even post mine on my Instagram. So I made like promo videos out of it over COVID because I was so
thank you. I feel like we put a lot of hours into these games. We get better, and ultimately it's for us, but sometimes it's cool to share.
I think it's great. I think it's part of your brand also, and like you're bringing people to your channel. And I also like, if I was dating a girl, I'd be like, I'm chasing 400 home runs. You know what I mean?
They've got to accept that. Yeah.
I would be like, isn't this cool? Like I love it's, you know how like people watch soldiers coming home and like hugging their children,
Yeah.
and it makes them cry
Yeah.
or whatever.
Right.
You know what makes me cry? When I see a meme for a gamer who's like, baby, I just won the NBA championship in 2K live or whatever. And the girl's like, "Go, way to go, baby," or whatever, like that shit. Where they gas them
What
up.
a fantasy.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
There was this game called San Francisco Rush back in the day that we used to play for.
Racing game?
Yeah, it was for N64.
Oh, Rush. The original was like, I used to go to my friend's house after school and play that every day on N64. Was it San Francisco Rush? That was the original one, wasn't it?
I don't know if
you make them flip in the freeform mode.
Right. So that's what we would do. It was like everybody, like I remember me and my friend Rex went to somebody's place and we were like, "Oh, you actually race in this game?" We're like, "No, it's not what you're supposed to do." Like there's these little lips like in the game where when you find them, you go like 130 miles an hour and you just flip around like over and over and over. And
like
then you try and and you just try and like land or whatever. And I would have a friend come over and we would do it for 8 hours and then like, all right, goodbye, go to bed, go to school the next day. And then after school, it's like, okay, come over and just flipping these cars over and over. And I forgot about that like my whole life until a year ago. I saw like a clip of it and I was like, oh, and I just thought about that. I'm like, man, that would be dope to have. I would love to have like videos of me and my friends playing video games from 20 years ago.
Oh, that game and GoldenEye were like hours and hours we spent doing that. And even I like played a mod of GoldenEye recently. And I'm like, this game still is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that 4-player split screen.
I can't believe no one's remade it just with better graphics.
Yeah, it's a good point. There's got to be a licensing thing.
Maybe. I mean, because it was such it slapped. It would be the best if they remade it.
Yeah, I feel like we're old enough to where we grew up with like video games and now we're kind of older.
We're the first adults to really have like
and so when you see somebody my age, pushing 40 but who also keeps Rocket League highlights, like it shouldn't be that much of a shock.
It's not that crazy.
The best gifts I've ever gotten were gaming consoles, like Game Boy, like those things changed my life and were burned into my memory.
I remember I cried to my mother and I was like, I need Sega Genesis so I can have NHL 95 because it had instant replay. That blew my mind.
Yeah.
And I got it and I would play that thing for hours. I would call the games like I was on the broadcast.
Yeah.
And my mom would think I was insane. I'd be in my room screaming like Rick Jenneret playing NHL 95. That was the game that like changed my life for sure.
Yeah. I think I might have had 95, maybe 97, but that was a
97. I mean, the whole
yes. Yeah.
The MIDI of that.
Yeah.
And you do the wrap-around and he gets stuck.
The wraparound would always be the
Incredible.
go-to in 95. Yeah. Or the one-timer was impossible to stop too.
Yeah.
The one-timer across the goalie.
Yeah. God, those games really changed.
I loved GoldenEye, but I feel like Halo was the first game to me where I was like, I would say it was like at least a 2-year period where like the game didn't leave the console, like that. It was like, I was like, I'm not playing any, like once we were playing that game, it was like, this is, and especially when it was like 4-way, it's all 4 of your friends. And if I could have if you pull back some highlights from that, where you throw like a sticky bomb through like a portal and it hits your boy in the chest and you see their screen just like glowing green and you're like, I did it. That's it. I did it.
Instagram accounts now. There are Instagrams of like Call of Duty kills where they're just like highlights. I don't even know what I'm watching in those, by the way. I'm so like bad at those games. I don't even know what I'm looking at when I see those. They're like a guy just like, and you're just like, oh, cool. Did you do good there?
Yeah,
I don't even know what I'm saying.
I see it says, the points come up.
I have no idea. It's like real war. I don't know where, I can't see those guys. I would be just as effective in real war as I am in fake war.
Yeah. Like games like Battlefield where people are hopping out of planes, shooting people, then getting back in the plane. I mean, there's all kind. I just like looking at it. I just like looking at it. There's a new Halo, Rob. Did you know that?
Yeah, but even
would
like
you
Halo,
play it today? If I told you I have Halo, come over. Let's play.
Because even Halo 2, I was like, nah, it's too much. But like you could hold a gun in each hand. It was too much. But the last game I played that I was like addicted to was Gears of War, and that was the last one that
I would have never guessed that.
They did something where like, cause you had your gun and then they attached a chainsaw to your gun.
Yeah.
So when you're killing somebody and somebody starts shooting you from the side, when you're done shooting that guy, you turn around and chainsaw their face. And that you were just like, this is the best fucking game.
That's like Doom.
Yeah.
Doom had the chainsaw.
Doom
You go like,
was-
what the fuck?
Do you remember where you were when you first played like Doom or Castle Wolfenstein?
Doom was in my, I remember we got a PC, the first PC we ever had. And I knew more about it than my parents, which is a thing that will never happen again. And it was like I had all the games. I had Napster. I'm looking at porn. I'm doing everything I want. And I'm like brazen about the porn too. I'm like categorizing it in the desktop.
I
like,
did on the desktop. Yeah. That
Not
is
even
brazen.
cloaking folders. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lesbian porn. Like labeling it. And then I would just like blame it on my dad or something. It was really easy to throw them off the scent, you know?
Yeah. It was, I remember getting a floppy. Like I think I borrowed a floppy from my friend. And because that came on a floppy, right? Didn't it?
Doom came on a floppy.
Yeah. And it was, I remember putting it in my computer not being good enough to play it.
You needed a graphic card. I remember I got one of those Voodoo graphic cards.
Oh, the Voodoo.
Installed it myself. I couldn't do that today.
No.
I have no idea.
When you wanted it bad enough as a kid, though, you became like an electrician when you needed it.
It was so wild. There was no YouTube videos either.
No. Yeah, there was a lot of trial and error, and there was a lot of like your friends telling you how to do it at school, and then you going home trying to remember.
A book.
Yeah. God, I love games.
Dude,
I love it.
I had a dark period of games where I didn't play anything from like 16 to 25 because I got like a full-time radio job and I just didn't, I was going out, you know what I mean? I was like, I want chicks now, or whatever. And then I went to Cleveland and I moved to Cleveland for a morning radio job and I had no friends. And I go, I'm going to buy an Xbox. And I played Skyrim and Madden. It got me back into Madden. It was Madden 2011 with Peyton Hillis on the cover. And I lived in Cleveland at the time. So it was like, I'm like, this is kismet. And then I started playing online and I'm like, oh my God, I'm back. And I haven't stopped playing online since then.
When they introduced online playing against somebody, it was like, oh, I'm not good anymore.
Well, that was another thing too.
Yeah.
Like, even still, I play Madden all of the time. And I could never, like in a professional tournament, I would get smoked.
Yeah.
I have friends that will smoke me every single time.
Yeah, they have these. I mean, there are the pros at any certain games. Like, you know, there are like racing simulator games that people race cars.
That's my dream purchase, by the way, now that I'm not
the
driving,
full rig.
I want the whole NASCAR rig.
Yeah.
Like
Love on the Spectrum.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there was
they were playing.
there was a kid who was like the best at, I think it was iRacing. And then he like won a tournament. And then they put him on a track in a real car, and he like won that.
Oh, really?
Because he like knew, because they do real
courses.
Yeah. So they like know each turn. They know when to brake, like what to downshift to, where to like hit the apex. Well, and these guys are winning.
Honestly, that's what NASCAR drivers. I have a weird knowledge of NASCAR. That's what NASCAR drivers use to practice now when they can't get the cars to the. Because they only get a certain sanctioned time to practice
on the track.
So in their off time, they do the simulators so they know the turns, what lines they want to take. They can simulate the tire wear and like the downforce,
the weather,
the spoilers.
Yeah, Formula One guys too.
Do they do that?
Yeah, the Formula One guys, they like have it in their thing, you know. And it's funny because they're like the coolest guy. Like, before I started watching the Formula One show on Netflix, like in my head, I would have thought Formula One guys are the same as NASCAR guys. Like they look like you right now with like an oversized beer, like just chugging it all the time.
Formula One guys, do you think that? Because they're all Europe people. So I would think they're like, you know, in what is it, Talladega Nights, Sacha Baron Cohen. I would be like, oh, they're all prissy Euro guys.
Yeah.
See, I just knew nothing. Racing to me was like one thing, and it was like one guy, you know, did everything. And then I became addicted to that Formula One show. And you're like, oh, these are like full on rock star dudes. And so like Lewis Hamilton is like the coolest guy dating the hottest chicks or whatever. And
he just got knighted somewhere. It wasn't by the Queen, but Lewis Hamilton just became like a sir.
Wow.
But then they would show them at home, like playing this video game, and it looks like, like when somebody's playing a fucking video game, but they're actually training for like the hundreds of millions of dollars they're getting paid or whatever. So it's like a very serious, it's weird to see somebody like play video games and it's like, this is life or death. Like, like this is real.
But all of a sudden I was like into NASCAR.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to watch this season coming up. I'm going to really follow it closely. And I was like 15, 2001. I was 15. Yeah. And, the first race is the Daytona 500. It's the Super Bowl. That's the only sport that does the first event is their Super Bowl. And I watched the Daytona 500 and Dale Earnhardt, the only guy I basically knew, dies.
That's insane.
And
of course you would become a lifelong fan.
Yeah. I go like, this sport's insane. The main guy can die.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
What a reality check. Tune in next week to see who dies next.
Well, then, the next week was like, Steve Park won, and it was like Dale Earnhardt owned that car, and it was like this, everyone's crying and shit, and like it was wild. It was just like a wild season to follow after that. But it really
what I loved about
what
I loved about no, it's all good. What I loved about the fucking Formula One is like what you were just saying, which is like there's always fights where in American sports they're like, oh, like something horrible happens, and he's like, I'm just we didn't say anything, I'm just honored to, it was a great game. And, we gave it our best in this, where these Formula One guys don't play that shit. Like they say exactly what's on their mind. They're like, yeah, fuck that. They're like, should I go over and fucking smack that?
No, they do that in NASCAR too. And they don't
love it.
The sport or like the entity that own, NASCAR, the league, they try to squash that. And it's doing them a disservice.
Shouldn't. Yeah.
It's really doing them a disservice, but there are fist fights. I mean, some of the best moments are, in the hottest ones, like they're throwing their helmets at the cars, and I mean they get fined and shit. But it's like,
yeah, let those guys fight it out. That's only good. I mean, it's not like NASCAR's known for a league of gentlemen. They're not all like great guys on and off the track.
Even they were saying in the media there was a rivalry, Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano, that was like reaching this weird peak, and then like NASCAR did a thing to like squash it, and you were like, oh god, come on, you don't even know what is making people tune in at this point.
Yeah.
But I don't even understand why they try and present football players that way. It's like these guys are on the field trying to at times kill each other.
Stupid. Like I was just celebrating a play and they're like 15 yards. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
When the ref like backed up into him, who was that?
Oh, that game was the Bears.
That was crazy.
Forget who else it was.
Steelers? Was it Bears Steelers?
It was a primetime game, so everyone was losing their minds about it,
Yeah, that was crazy.
I'd love the refs not to be a storyline. Everyone's yelling right now. They're like, the Bills lost because of the refs in the Buccaneers game. And I'm like, we lost because of a lot of things. That didn't help, obviously.
Yeah, it helps them cope if they can all agree to blame somebody.
Not this last Sunday, I think, but the Sunday before that, one of the refs in the game I was watching like pulled a hammy, and it was like this big deal. Like they were like, "Oh man, like we hope he's okay," and he was just like holding the back of his fucking.
We're
calf.
sending thoughts and prayers to Steve Hockley, who pulled a hamstring earlier in the game.
And like, I hope he's okay, and they find out it's just like he pulled a hamstring. It like shuts. It's crazy how like I always think about this. How like if aliens came down here,
now we're talking.
And they're like, what's the biggest thing down here? It's like, football.
I'd love to show aliens football. Let that be my job with the aliens when they come, is to go
just hand it off to you.
We crack a beer with them. I go, this is a beer.
Yeah. we
watch this now. This is fun. You want to get into it? Like, let's check it out and then see if they get into it. Some that could be like our peacemaking.
It's time to seek out pleasure in every area of your life, from how you start your mornings to how you wind down at night and everything in between. You deserve to enjoy it all. Dipsy Stories wants you to find joy and confidence in and out of the bedroom. I signed up for Dipsy. Okay. I put in my information, and then I answered a series of questions and like topics that I would be interested in. It spit out a bunch of stories that I could just listen to. And they were pretty spicy. Let me tell you, they're good if you're alone, and they're good if you're with a partner, or even your new buddy, Josh Potter.
Hundreds of stories to choose from, guys.
Yeah, it is real spicy stuff. I highly recommend, especially.
And by the way, they also have wellness sessions to help you wind down and explore, and sleep sessions to help you drift off into a nice sleep.
Yeah,
which is nice.
They've got it all. For listeners of the show, Dipsy's offering an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipsystories.com/pajama. That's 30 days of full access for free when you go to DIPSEA stories.com/pajama, dipsystories.com/pajama.
Guys, this is great. I come home, and before I even walk in my front door, waiting for me is a box of food. I open up the box of food. There's all the ingredients are right there of the stuff that I want to cook.
That was New York Rob giving you the skinny on HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Look, the holidays can be hectic, but HelloFresh keeps things simple with recipes that cut back on meal prep and cleanup so you can spend less time in the kitchen and more quality time with friends and family. They offer 50 menu and market items to choose from every week, including vegetarian, calorie smart, and gourmet options, providing plenty of variety. So, don't forget dessert, by the way. They have dessert. Satisfy your sweet tooth with seasonal limited time goodies like ginger spiced cake truffles and cherry cheesecake swirl bars.
Whoa, babe, you're getting out of control. I'll take it from here. So go to HelloFresh.com/pajama14, pajama14, and use code pajama14 for up to 14 free meals and 3 free gifts. 3 free gifts. Listen, guys, it's America's #1 meal kit. Go to HelloFresh.com/pajama14. Use code pajama14 for up to 14 free meals and 3 free gifts.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to our ads and sponsors. It helps keep the show going. And for those of you that aren't pulling out your hair, we appreciate you sticking around every week and supporting people to support the show.
Just party with them.
Yeah,
a
bond over. Where do you stand on aliens?
Hey,
are they out there?
I hope they like us. That's all I'm saying. I'm scared that they don't.
There's a little bit of a fear you have of them wiping us out.
Yeah,
sure.
no, I mean,
it's always in the back of our heads.
I definitely believe that I'm not like obtuse enough to think that we are the only things in the universe. I don't know what it is. I just hope if they come here, they're chill with us.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think they've already been here?
They might have. If they have been, that's even more comforting because that means they are chill with us, or at least they're gathering the research. Hopefully they're very diligent in that, and it's after my lifetime that they decide to get aggressive if that's what happens.
Yeah. So as long as it's not while you're here.
Yeah, it's like the environment. I consider it like, hey, I'm doing what I can, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
I'll introduce football to the aliens. I got nothing else for you.
Yeah.
I feel like
the aliens want to smoke weed. I'll do that with them.
I feel like I finally understood what happened, like the Big Bang thing when this guy explained it the other day. Because you get it, but I think they say it's hard for humans to imagine things like infinity. It's like your brain just can't grasp of right, where they say if infinity, to try and grasp infinity, it's like if you put a monkey on a typewriter. If you sat him there for infinity, he would write every book that's ever been written because that's how long infinity. It's crazy. So they said,
I just go, I want to go to sleep after hearing that.
Yeah. So what this guy said is I wish I could remember who said it, but it was he's like, if you put a beer, a bottled beer in a freezer and then you take it out and it looks like just regular or whatever. And he's like, and then you open it and that explosion that will happen. He's like, that's what happened. That's how the universe started, but it's just, it never stops.
Right.
It's just always shooting out and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's just fucking, I needed some weed for that shit, dude.
I'm sorry if anyone listening to this is stoned. They might have passed out from having their minds blown.
I'm over here, just my brain's in a pretzel. I'm like,
I wish you could put like the smart person explaining it next to me explaining it. You know, it's like so.
I'm glad you explained it as opposed to like some dork. You know what I mean? Because I would have just glossed over, and I would have been like a guy entering the atmosphere again. I would have been like,
how you doing on that beer? Can I get you?
I'll take the other one. I don't care.
We go. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
Way to go, Cass.
Thank you again for getting me these tall boys.
You got it.
I feel like I'm at the ballpark. Oh no, I hope I didn't wasn't
you're good.
Reductive to the progress.
No, Shank's over there blowing weed in his face. It's all good. You started on the radio when you were 16?
I started when I was 15, yeah.
How the fuck does that happen?
I don't know, man. I got lucky, and I got in as the door was closing, like in terms of like people getting jobs and that sort of thing. And
what year was this?
This was in
did you pull your Moat stunt to get in? That they saw that and they were like,
I was a stunt boy at the beginning. I was doing whatever it took to get on the air. And I was like a diligent intern when I was 15. And I got what it was like through school, I got a sales internship. And that was like 6 months. And from there, I was in the building. So I listened to that morning show every day. And I said to myself, my dream is to be one of the guys on that morning show. Mm-hmm. And then I did it that summer because I just wrote the producer, a letter. Is still my friend to this day. I wrote him a letter. And I was like, I just want to come in. I went in there and they let me come in and watch. And I just didn't go home. Like I would come in every day then. And they were just like, he's here again. And for the first 2 weeks, I just sat in a chair and didn't say anything. Didn't do anything. They didn't tell me to do anything. And I just watched. And then
would they bring you up like on air? Would they say you were there?
No, it was like I was not even, it was like I was a piece of furniture. And I just watched them
this
operate.
Kid's here again.
And I just listened and overheard like how their processes worked. And then at one point they started giving me menial tasks and I started doing those. And they hired a woman to do the assistant producer job. And I was training her how to do it because I had witnessed it already. Right. And then I just said to my boss, I go, hey, why don't you just have me do the job?
Yeah.
And he was like, all right. And so I got hired in high school and I had to talk to my guidance counselor and he shifted all my classes to the end of the day so I could work until 11 a.m.
Oh, that's nice of him. That's just, I feel like that's the first time I've heard a guidance counselor be useful.
I only went to 2 classes. And so he gave me the final exams for 3 classes in December so that I could start working in January.
That's great.
You're getting into show business stories like the opposite of one of our last guests, which is he tried to do what you were doing and then got sexually assaulted, basically. Perry Caravello. Yeah,
I might have a Netflix special if that happened to me at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he went to go do a job, and the guy told him that he would get him into SAG if he blew him.
Oh, that's tough.
Well, he would get him on the show that with Christina Applegate.
Well, see, radio is the lowest rung of show business.
Yeah,
and it's just it really is blue collar show business if you think about it. And it's just degrading. And I was at an age where I didn't give a shit. And that was my advantage over people graduating from college, things like that, who were trying to get into media like that. They were like, why would I do this for that low of money? Meanwhile, I'm like, that's how much money it is. Holy shit. And I'm 15. What, I have no overhead.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I was the richest one of my friends for the longest time.
You know, what's so sad about radio is for a little bit, they weren't the lowest rung of show business because people playing video games on Twitch started, and then they were radio was probably hey, look at this. There's a lower rung of people doing something, and then fucking Twitch just blasted off, and now they look down at radio.
Do you know what I love about Twitch though? It is radio. That's that's what they're watching a game, but also they don't have to be. And if you're just talking, it's radio. You're doing radio, you're just talking to them and you can interact. And so it's a new form of it. And radio is lower than Twitch, by the way, nowadays.
That's
Like,
what I'm
there are
saying. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
many people making more money on Twitch than they are in radio.
Oh, if I could have interacted with Kevin and Bean like in the late 90s
Oh, yeah.
or like on Loveline, been able to like talk to Dr. Drew as a kid.
I was obsessed with all those shows and like Opie and Anthony, Don and Mike,
Yeah.
Howard Stern, all of it. And then we had like our local version, which was Shred and Reagan. And that's the show I ended up working on
Shred and
for
Reagan.
15 years. Yeah. They're still on the air and they're
Wow.
fantastic. They should have been. See, a thing that this is what I realized growing up. They eventually, I was like, we're going to be nationally syndicated because I thought like we had the stuff and we did.
Yeah.
But they had no aspirations of that. And that was
That's cool though.
they
That's
made
kind
a bunch of
punk rock.
money in Buffalo and they're like, we're happy we have families here. But me being a kid, I thought we all wanted to go to the moon.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I grew up and I was like, okay, I'm disenchanted.
So you
At this
stayed
point.
there. So you were on the show at 15 or 16 then,
I started getting paid at 16, but I was an intern at 15.
and then you stayed there. Now you became part of the morning crew.
Yes.
For how long did you stay there?
I was there for 15 years with
Oh, wow.
exception to 1 year where I went to Cleveland and came back eventually.
You went to another morning show.
Yes. That I hated. Oh, it was the worst. They were terrible.
You left home.
I did. Well,
Yeah.
it was more money and I thought it was like progressing my career.
Yeah. What were your duties on the morning show? Like, were you? It was
the
you
ones
and
that
another guy.
So I was the assistant producer.
Okay.
I wasn't the executive producer, which is the best because all I'm doing is filling in like third mic stuff. I get to come up with bits. I would do theaters where I would write sketches basically and then just like create them through an audio. Like I used to make soundscapes and shit.
Mm-hmm.
I would do contests. I'd come up with just filling segments. I'd come up with content, but I would really had no true responsibilities.
That's a lot of work.
It was.
You've got
it
to
was
turn.
fun, dude. It was so fun. And then like eventually they started heaping other things onto my plate without giving me a raise because that's how consolidation works in a corporate media landscape. And I could do more than one job. I was doing like 4 people's job. Like when I got there as an intern, there would be like 4 full-time employees that end up having all the jobs that I ended up with. And I wasn't even making half of the money that one of them was making.
Wow.
What did you hate about the 1 year that you went to that other place? Why was it so bad?
Oh my God. These 2 dipshits that I worked for were awful. Kylie and Booms was the name of the show. It lasted 3 years before it was canceled. I was on it for 1 year and I saw the writing on the wall. They were just
So you pulled the shoot on your own.
Yeah, I pulled the shoot. I didn't sign. I was very Don Draper in my radio life. I never signed a contract because I wanted to like have a fluid situation.
Yeah.
Because that's how those jobs come up.
And you were good, so they were like, "All right, well, that's."
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky that I stayed in the same place for so long. That never happens, you know.
Did they like poach you?
The people in Cleveland did. Yeah, it was a guy that used to work in Buffalo at a radio station that was a competitor that was always trying to steal me away. And this guy, I should have known because this guy, the first time he offered me a job, he took me to dinner and shit.
Wow.
And I'm like, here we go, baby. This is like, I'm going to get, then he showed me the money. It was $18,000. I go, I make more than this as a part-time guy.
Yeah.
Like I made more than this when I first got hired. Like that's an insanely low. I like cried because I was like, that's so low. And then I lied to my boss at the time and said he offered me a different number. And then they matched that number instead.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. I just was a Hail Mary.
If they gave you that rate, that means they could have given you that rate and they should have given you that.
No, that's what's even more disgusting about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I had some corporate assholes that I had to deal with throughout the years that like stunted me because I was just like, I'll do whatever. And I was like trying to grind it out. And then they would, never give me what they said. They were like, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Turns out we can't give you that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're good at that? Like both of you, like negotiating, is that like a strong suit for you where you're
No,
like,
because
I'll go in there and
I hate myself. So like, I can't sell myself that way. I need somebody to do it for me.
I think
I hate it, but I also think like being in New York instantly makes you better at shit like that because you're dealing with so many people that you're like, I don't care what this guy, like I locked myself out like a fucking idiot the other day, which like I've never done in my whole life.
that's
and I
not
did it
like
here.
you. That is not like you.
So not a Rob thing to do.
No.
But the problem is my place in LA, the door doesn't lock on its own. So I forgot that I just like my brain was gone. I went to go do laundry. And as soon as the door shut, I was like, I don't have my keys. Like I'm just, what a fucking moron you are. And I got on my phone to like locksmiths, and the first guy's like, "Hey, what's up?" He's like, "Oh, I could." He's like, I'll come over. I'll give you an estimate when I get there. I was like, nah, dude. I was like, listen, I already had another guy who said he could do it for 90. So if you can't do it for 90, just let me know and I'll tell the other guy. And he's like, oh, you got, all right, I could do it for 80. Like,
yeah.
And that's, if I was in LA, like I would have just been like, help, like, you know,
Yeah.
like you don't have that. There's something about like constant interaction with humans all day that just keeps you on your toes of like, even walking in stores here. It's like in LA, I could just like look up at a menu and like stare for like 5 minutes and there's nothing. Where like in New York, if you're looking up at the menu, someone's like, "Yo, are you gonna fucking go?" Or like, what's, you know, like you just have to, you can't be like vulnerable here on the streets, you know?
No,
well, there's no sense of urgency in LA.
No. I feel anxiety when I go to New York. I can tell that there is this hustle that I don't have innately in me because I've just been so like washed out here.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I go to New York, and even when I'm going to like a Starbucks, something I've been a million times out here, I know exactly what I want. I go there, I have this stress because I feel like, you know, there's people around me. They're gonna sense that I'm not from here. They may call me like a name. You know, there's this urgency that I don't, you know, and everyone's just there. But talking about negotiating, I actually haven't. The only time I've really negotiated is like maybe a couple times, but the most recent one was when I got this gig at G4. And I'm so glad like we have managers and things that people that can do that for us, because I generally don't like I'm just happy that somebody's considering me for something.
Sure.
You know,
that's the same thing with me. I'm just grateful to be there.
Yeah. And so when I'm like, well, if they have more money, I'll take more money. And, you know, and the manager's like, okay, we're going to tell them you want this. And I'm like, well, don't tell them I need to have that, but like, let's make sure they offer. So it's nice to have people that do that for you. But I will say most of the time, even when I worked at Best Buy as a salesman, that first offer, there's room to negotiate. There's room for people to come down or for them to come up or whatever it is. It's all in how you deliver it, really. Yeah. You know, it's like, if you came in and I knew right away you're sniffing out a deal or you're being really short or I was less likely to give you that deal. But if we had been talking, I'm like, oh, you know, we're building a rapport and you were nice and like you weren't pushy about it, you were probably going to walk out with a way better deal than you would have otherwise.
I am good in terms, like you gave the example of like a service industry, like with the locksmith thing. Like that's different than me trying to negotiate myself.
Yeah.
Like in a business sense. And I'm glad that I have people that do that too, that, you know, even with comedy clubs, like this is the guarantee we'll give you. And I'm like, and now I'm glad I have a guy that I can go like, I don't really want to, can you make it more? And he'll be like, I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. Cause I would just be like, okay.
Yeah.
You know,
and most of the time, like they come back with a better number, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's I mean, job. It's like they're earning their percentage.
I don't think I'm good at negotiating, but what I don't know if it's good at, but it's like I become a crazy person when I feel like I've been like fucked over or like, yeah, we got you. Like, I remember one time I was this is like, I never feel shame. This is like one of the most embarrassing things I could tell. And it's not that embarrassing. Like, I got out of a cab in New York City, and right where I opened the cab door, there was a truck, and it was like with marijuana leaves all over it. And it was like, we're selling fucking edibles and like this. And it was like such chaos around the truck that I was like, oh my God, like, I was like, what the fuck? And it was when I was smoking weed a lot. Like I was probably high at the time. And like, I just like, the guy was handing them out. And I was like, how much for the thing? And he's like, oh, like 3 brownies for $20. And I just like, there's so much going on. Like, I just didn't think it. I reached into my pocket. I gave him the $20 and like 40 feet away, I was like, what are you doing? I was like, of course this is a fucking scam, you moron idiot. But I had lived in New York City my whole life. I was probably 25 years old. I had never seen that before. And I was just like, I turn around, I go back to, that's, but then like, I turn around and I start walking back to the guy and I go, hey man, like I see all these, what you're doing over here. I go, it's all good. Take this back. Give me my 20 back. Like, and he was like, nah, man, like once and I was like, hey buddy, I was like, I fucking grew up here and I know and I was like, unless you want to not sell one more thing, cause I'll stand here and tell everybody what you're fucking doing. And then he like started yelling at me and we start like going at it a little. And like, there's nothing in me that's like, hey Rob, you know, it's $20. Like you're doing okay. Like let that go. It's like this is life or death. Like you know,
it's your pride.
No,
Yeah,
I have been. This is not that long ago. This is like 2019. I got scammed like an old person on the phone because I had an issue with my father's PayPal. So you know he's like internet illiterate. So here I am trying to like save the day. I called what I thought was the customer service of PayPal because I just Googled what the customer service was. Hit the first number that came up. And it was some phishing scam. And here I am at 7-Eleven getting like a $50 gift card. And I go, I know this is a scam. I said that to myself. I go, this isn't what PayPal would do. But I still went through with it.
Yeah.
I still went through with it because I go, I want to know this guy's fucking me. And then when he did it, he goes, okay, good, Mr. Now you can send $400. We have to get, I go, I know what you're doing. And I talked to him on the phone. I go, he goes, what? And he got mad at me and started yelling at me. And I go, listen, man, you got me for $50.
Yeah.
Applause break. But I'm not giving you any more money. Like, I can't believe I fell for that. You got me. I like had this moment on the phone. I'm like, you got me, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's so funny. There's a guy on Twitch, speaking of Twitch, that scams the scammers.
Yes. Is he the guy that also made a obstacle course for squirrels?
I know that.
That's Mark. Is that Mark Rober? That's Mark Rober.
Thing, right?
He has done this. There's a guy whose whole thing on Twitch, his name's Kit Boga.
Oh, okay.
And he essentially, I don't know how he does it, but like every stream, he'll get a call and it'll be some Indian fella who's trying, and he does a voice filter. So it sounds like he's an old lady. And so these Indian guys are constantly trying to get him to go buy gift cards and give them the gift card numbers, and he'll just fuck with them the whole time and just string out the whole. He'll spend like 3 hours with one guy, awesome. Completely frustrating the guy. There was one I watched the other day where he was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just drive down to the Lowe's, and like, you know, he would call him back, and then he would add like, you know, store background sounds to make it sound like he's at a store, you know, and it's so funny because when you said you are at 7-Eleven buying a gift card, I mean, dude, I was like, as I'm doing it, I'm like, you're such a fucking idiot. Yeah.
Like,
and they do get angry.
Oh, he got so mad when I accused him of it. And he was also just like, and I was like, whatever. And then I lost it. I just was so like, I had to tell everybody how dumb I was because it was so dumb.
It's such a good story.
It was like, I can't believe I fell for like an old lady.
What's the age where I think there's like a definite age where you go from being like, oh, you fucking idiot to like, you feel bad. So is it like 65? Like if somebody's over 65,
for it.
Yeah, that's the thing I was gonna say. Like, I don't feel bad for you. Like, I'm like, oh man, like really. But like, there is an age.
Right.
I
like,
think
what are you mentally deficient? How did you fall for that?
Yeah. Like, it's like you're too good for this. Like, that's how I feel. Like,
my mother always said I am too gullible, and it wasn't even a matter of that. I have that. Her telling me that running through my head anytime I'm making a deal, by the way, because I don't want to get fucked. So it actually makes me gun shy more than it does the opposite. But every now and then I get caught in this little web and I go, this person isn't trying to fuck me like that. And I see it through.
Yeah. I think that's good. I think you want to be somebody who's like open to the goodness of people, right?
Yeah, no, it has made me gun shy though, like I said. Yeah. So now I'm just like sitting there like I can't even pull the trigger on anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, because I'm
it might be 60. I think 60 might be the age. Or like if somebody's like 59 and they fell for some shit. I know like 67, I'm like, oh, you poor thing. Like, you know, it's somewhere that's the sweet spot where like if you're 60, maybe I think 61.
Yeah.
If you're like 61, it's like, oh, they got you. Like, damn, let's get these guys. We're like, if somebody's 59, you're like, what are you doing? Like, you've been
Don't
around
you think it's
too
weird
long.
though? Like 60, I mean, Seinfeld 60. Would you be like, Seinfeld got scammed by a guy on the phone? Would you be like, huh?
Yeah, no.
Or would you feel bad for him?
I wouldn't feel bad for Seinfeld.
Right. It's all the Overton window of age is moving.
It is. Yeah.
And who knows what's going to be when we're fucking.
Yeah,
I'm scared of that.
I feel like I've seen my mom fall prey to these sort of things. Like even when I was a kid, because we're immigrants, so we're from another country. So you tack that on. So automatically feel like you're in a new country, and then like you have no idea what the norm is.
Right.
So if somebody's calling you, like I remember she'd get real excited about Publishers Clearinghouse, and she'd see those commercials with the big, by the way, like I can't believe that was like okay for that long. People, on TV showing these big old checks that they got.
That seems illegal.
It was, and then you've got Ed McMahon pimping it out. I mean, my mom was like several times, I remember her like going through the catalog and being like, you got to order this and that and make sure we get a chance to get entered into the drawing. And like,
was that not real?
I think ultimately it's a scam, but like
it's like the lottery. I mean, it's like
somebody does win, but it is a thing that is a scam, like ultimately.
Right.
Because in New York City, that was like, you would see that on TV and be like, oh, that's like where people live in like movies, like it was never like, hey, we're going up to this project building, or like, we're going up to this 30-story building. Like we're in the elevator now waiting. Like there's 12 people in the elevator. It was always like, we're pulling up to this like nice house.
Yeah, it's like the house from Home Alone.
I always remember them being like trailers. No?
Oh, really? See, I remember them going up to
Maybe
homes
they
with like
tailored
balloons.
They tailored them for different markets.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. My mom was always the opposite. She was skeptical of everything. So it made me the other way, where I'm like, not everything's bad, like in a rebelling sort of way, I guess.
Like, I'm going to show her. I'm going to trust everyone. Yeah.
You're too trusting. I remember her saying that. I'm like, is that such a bad?
Yeah, no, it's not. Somebody hurt your mom and got her to.
No, she is very
was
like, everyone's out to get you, that kind of thing. And so I was the opposite.
I became that because I felt people were trying to take advantage of my poor immigrant parents.
Right.
Because I spoke for a long time. I spoke, and I do now, but I spoke the best English in the family as a kid.
Oh, wow.
So when my dad's at work all day, and it's like me and my mom. So after school, like, I don't know, say like a fucking plumber would come over, and I would have to be the one to like communicate. Like my mom would do her best, but I would be like, all right, dude, this is what's going on. Like her bathroom toilet is doing this thing where the water isn't refilling. Like, can you fix that? And then also like the shower head's loose. And then I was the go-between.
You were the translator.
Yeah. And so a lot of times I felt like I had to be the guy, be like, I don't know, like, and I was skeptical. I always thought people were trying to take advantage of us. I could have used more of what you have, which is just like, people are nice.
Yeah.
But I grew up in a predominantly white area and like had racist neighbors.
Sure.
So I thought it was like, I thought people were out to get us for a while. And then post 9/11, forget about it.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
My father was is an immigrant. He was born in Egypt, but he's not an Egyptian person. He's a Greek person that was just born there.
Your father?
Yeah.
Oh, how interesting. Where was he born? Cairo?
Alexandria.
Oh, ooh, fancy.
Was it fancy?
I don't know.
It didn't seem fancy.
I feel like Alexandria is a place where we would go vacation. It was like near the beach.
It is the capital.
Yeah. Is it? I thought Cairo was the capital.
Is it? Or maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. I mean,
I have no idea.
No, who fucking
I honestly
cares?
wish I knew more about my father's.
But that was such a roller coaster for me of like, I don't belong in this conversation. No, I do. Oh, no, I don't. I do. You were like, that's fancy. He was like, is it real? And then you're like, oh, is that the capital of this? And you're like, I don't know. I'm like, oh, okay. It feels okay.
My father went when I was on my 15th birthday. Him and my mom went to Egypt for a vacation, and I didn't get to go. So it was
on your 15th birthday.
Yeah, because I remember I go, isn't it my birthday? They're like, yeah, but that's when we're going. I'm like, okay.
I would have thanked them up and down for not bringing me.
Well, I was a nerd at 15. I wasn't doing anything fun. So I should have had more fun with it. You're right.
So wait, your dad was Greek.
Yes.
So both his parents were Greek?
Both his parents were Greek, and they went to Egypt because a lot of Greek people went to Egypt for some reason in the 60s and 70s. And that's where he was born. But he is of Greek nationality and Egyptian. He has 2 passports.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you've never been?
Never been. I've been to Greece, but I haven't been to Egypt.
I'd say you could get most of it from Google. Like, I don't know if you need to go.
I mean, it's so funny. Like the pyramids, you have this weird, like you picture them out in the middle of the desert.
No, it's like
then you're
in
like
the middle of the city.
If anyone just turns the camera around, it's like there's a McDonald's, there's a Rite Aid.
I think if you I think literally there is a KFC on the other side.
So wild when they just if you just like every picture of the pyramids, it looks like it's like you have to take a camel to go get to it
Right.
or whatever.
Like, how do
It's
we
like-
get there? Do we need water? Like, how many
Nope.
days supplies do we need?
And then if you just like turn around
Yeah.
180, it's like there's a Burger King.
Yeah. It's crazy because you can be on a road that's just like any road out here, like a highway, and then you just come up over a hill and then boom,
Yeah.
there are the fucking pyramids. And then, but you're still like in a city. It's
Yeah,
just,
it's
it's
so
kind of wild. I mean, I would say make it a short trip,
Yeah.
you know, and then if you have anyone that like can be sort of like a guide, because everyone, they will drain you of all the money you have
they do that.
wherever you go.
Sir, come here. And then they're like, they take you in a maze and they're like, you want to get back?
Yeah, exactly.
You got to pay me the
Yeah,
rest.
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I've been through that.
It's a town that, you know, think about it. Like everyone, their economy is based on people wanting to go visit.
Sure.
Otherwise, it's kind of a corrupt government. And, you know, imagine like Brazil, but with something to see
Right.
there besides that Jesus statue.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So that there's going to be people at every corner out to take your American dollar. Make it a short trip. Go to Jordan and see Petra.
I have been to Morocco, and that's where I experienced that whole ruse of like, let's go on a tour. And then all of a sudden it's just like windy roads and stuff. I'm like, I'll
Yeah.
see if I can manage.
And they're
Get
always
back to the
so
bus.
nice.
Oh, yeah.
They're always so nice, but they're like, you also are scared.
The best
of
part
them.
was my cousin was like, we should go with this guy. I'm like, no, I don't have enough. I don't have enough money to go with that guy. Let's just walk around on our own. And he was like, okay. And then we talked to all the people that went with that guy.
Yeah.
Because he was like, they're like, he's funny. And they
Right,
just walked
yeah.
with him. And they were like, yeah, we went down all these windy things, alleyways and such. And then he was like, oh, you want to get back? Well, I'll show you the way back if you pay me X amount of dollars.
Yeah. Some of these guys are so famous. They have their own like Yelp reviews. Like if you were to go to like the pyramids and everyone is like, do not go with Mahmoud. If you see Mahmoud, like, dude, he will get you there. Then he'll charge you double.
Notorious
Yeah.
scammer.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, you do have to be careful, be a smart traveler, but also like, I don't want to shit on it to the point where you like, don't ever want to go. Just like
that's the
be
best
with a
part about
buddy.
being poor was never seeking out someone to show me around.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, I'll just wander around and figure my way back,
Yeah.
see what I see.
Cass, you know, it would be great if like TMZ somehow saw you picking up those two tall boys, a Miller.
Yeah. And they're like, oh,
Or
look
like-
who's
and they got-
relapsed.
Yeah,
That'd be
uh-huh,
on
he's
TMZ,
back.
Do you think that would be on TMZ?
Oh, I'm such a famous sober guy. Yeah, I'd have to be. You know, it's funny is because like I get in my head because I haven't been able to make my normal meetings on Mondays, and then I go like, oh man, if one of them saw me at the liquor store right now, they'd put 2 and 2 together. They'd be like, oh, he's off the wagon.
You know what I'm like?
I'll confirm.
You ever
Yeah.
see Mad Men?
Yeah,
You know when Roger Sterling, he goes, he's trying to get Freddie Munson to get sober. He's like, oh, I'll go down to Hazleton. That's where my dentist went. Only drinks beer now.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
me. Like I stopped
Yeah.
drinking liquor. I always know where I'm at with
Yeah.
beer.
yeah.
Like,
Good.
I don't black out. I feel like I get full before I get drunk, so I like slow down. It's like
Yeah, it's
I can
like
drink
a meal.
12 beers. I feel like in like a couple of hours, and I'm like, I feel the same. I'm probably not, but it's not like booze where I get like morose or drunk or like,
Right.
I'm just like, I'm puking in the
Yeah,
bathroom or
the
something. you
the
know?
blacking out
Yes.
was the thing for me, and Rob was with me on one of the last times I blacked out, but it was like I remember I blacked out and Rob was like telling me the next day all the things
I was
that
sober.
I had did.
No.
Yeah, Rob was sober and I was like, man, I really don't remember that. I'm like, is he fucking with me? And I'm like,
But here's the deal. I'm not the kind of guy who
And
would
he's
do
not.
that.
No,
the
no.
only reason why I did it was because we were working on set. Like we were filming a TV show. and
it was my birthday. It was
he
my birthday.
blacked out drunk.
Yeah. Steve
It was
Aoki was there.
incredible.
Oh my Lord.
What did I do to Steve Aoki? I don't know.
No, not to Steve Aoki, but somebody else. You like, Joe Perino says you fish hooked them, but like you were like, there was this guy. You were like fucking wrapping his scarf around it. You were just. I was letting everything go, and then you spilled Jack and Coke on my brand new sneakers, and like,
Yeah.
I was like, babe, chill out a little. And you were like, oh, watch it, and you like tried to come at me, and I was
Yeah.
like, babe, chill out a little.
I know
Dude,
that
that's
was
the thing about liquor with me too. I get like,
Yeah.
aggressive. I'm like, you don't even like me. I get like start to get like real
Right.
just morose. I don't even and now I like sometimes I'll do a shot here and there, but it's like at a certain point I go pump the brakes, Pally.
Yeah. What do you do when you're on the road and you've got fans after that are just trying to get drunk with you? How do
I'll
you
do a couple of shots, but I know the limit. I go, all right, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, and thankfully a lot of them give me drugs more than they give me booze, which is much preferred.
Now, do you have a lady friend right now?
Not a solid one, no.
Yeah.
I haven't had like a girlfriend in a many a moon.
Is that something you want? Because I remember the first time I saw you was on a YMH talking about you getting your butthole eaten.
Oh yes, no.
Yeah, and I was like, this is a guy.
I mean, that was
like
a
this
real
guy.
run.
Yeah.
Back
They
in
called
those
it
days.
the Make Josh Come tour.
Yes, now it had quite a halting end due to the COVID virus, but
Oh, that's a shame.
no, yeah, no. I mean, every now and we get some lingerings, but it was it was quite the run. No, that was fun. And at the time, I didn't want a girlfriend, but now, I mean, I think I could handle it. I wasn't in a financial place back then to even entertain having a girlfriend,
Right.
you know, and I know better than to even think that I could. But now I think I'm like in a place where I can do that, so I wouldn't mind it.
You wouldn't mind.
No.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm open to it. I haven't had one in years though. It's getting like gross how long it's been, like 8 years maybe.
What do you think would be the hardest part of adjusting to life with a girlfriend? Is it giving up a lot of your time?
Solitude, yes.
Yeah.
Which I don't even like having as it is, but it is something that I've been conditioned to. And COVID fucked me up a great deal. I mean, it really made me mad at social interaction. And just like, I always have a history, I don't know, like with my parents or people that I am like myself around, I snip. Like if they're grading at me and I'm not all there, like I'm worse for wear for the day. Like I'm like, you know, my energy is at a certain level and it gets drained.
Yeah.
And then I'm at an empty tank and I have like the people around me that I know love me.
Yeah.
And they're saying something annoying. I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm on E.
I get snippy and then
Yeah.
they get upset and I don't want to do that to a woman anymore.
Sure.
Like in my
Maybe you can
20s
just
or
date
whatever.
someone in the mornings.
No,
when you've
it
got
would
a
have
full
to be, it would have to be. I remember my last girlfriend, or one of my last girlfriends. I thought at first, like, I'm like, oh my God, she wakes up in the morning. I worked in the afternoons at the time. She worked in the morning. And I was like, oh, it's so awesome. She wakes up in the morning and she hums and it's like there's animated birds flying around her head. It's beautiful. And then like 2 weeks and I'm like, will you shut up? I remember she was laying in bed and had the clicky sounds on the typewriter, like, you know, when she was texting.
Oh yeah, she didn't turn those off.
And it would
That's
go,
a red flag.
Go, bing, you know, and it'd come back and she'd be like, and I'd be like, I reached over with seamlessly and just was like, click, and that girl got so pissed at me.
Yeah, it was like she was on a typewriter next to you.
Yeah. And it was coming,
you
and it
can't
was
do that.
one text message maybe, but when you're having a full-fledged conversation back and forth, no, turn your sounds off.
I can't imagine. That's one of those things when iPhones first came out, everyone kept the sound, but first, you know, it took me like, I don't know, 6 months. I was like, oh, you can turn this off. Never looked back. But if you see somebody with the keyboard clicks now on an iPhone,
even the
crazy
ding,
yeah,
that thing, if that happens 4 times within 20 minutes,
yeah,
you know, you're talking to someone, you're looking at it.
Totally.
Put it on vibrate. I have no patience for that. I don't know what it is.
What percentage of folks out there do you think that have an iPhone have the audible alert? Because I always have mine
Can
on.
I make
vibrate.
a leap of immense judgment?
Yeah.
If you have your sounds on, you are mentally deficient.
Yeah, you're ill.
Yes. You are not all there.
Do you have, Rob, you're a vibrate. Yeah, this guy.
I don't even let it vibrate. I'm nothing. I don't let my phone take me out of my life. I look at my phone when I want to look. But then the problem is when somebody is like, when we used to do the pod, my sound would never be on. And there were a couple of pods in the studio where it went off because if we had a guest coming, I would have to toggle the thing up because mine doesn't vibrate. I don't like the idea of, and again, like if I ever have kids or whatever, I'm going to have to get out of this. But like, I don't like the idea when I see people like their phone controls their life. Like,
Of course.
I like to be like, oh, I'm ready to look at my phone, not like my phone needs me right now, you know? And
Yeah.
people think like everything, like I always talk to people who like, lately I've been doing this thing where I don't look at my phone for an hour after I wake up at all. And I've brought it up to people and people are like, oh, I can never do that. And I'm like, well, you could do like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And they're like, yeah, but what if like somebody needed me? And I'm like, well, what if you had slept another 10 minutes? That like, who are you that like you're this person who needs to be like, I don't know. Like I'm usually like, oh, like now I've gotten to the point because it's everyone's answer where I'm like, oh, okay. But like usually I don't think, I would say 9 out of 10 people are not needed the way they think they are of like, oh my God, I could never look at my phone for 10 minutes. It's like, oh, you're looking at Instagram. Like, please.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, when I have immense depression and I recognize that. So I know when I'm in a happy point, I don't even need my phone. My phone could be in outer space. You know what I mean? And it's like over there and I'm not even looking at it and whatever. And I'll get to it for work capacities. And I'm like, get this out of my hand. You know what I mean? Like, I can't wait to lose it. But when I'm at the depths, I know it because I'm like, I wake up and I'm just death scrolling and
looking for a like or something that
not even
pull
it's
you out
not
of
that
it.
at all. It's not even that. It's just looking at something just to like distract myself.
Yeah.
It's not even like I don't care about the likes or the comments. It's like it's just like I need something to stare at to distract myself. And it's not really doing that either, you know,
Just to get you out of your own misery.
Yeah, just to like wake up, you know, or something. Or get out of bed. And it doesn't do that either. You just stare at it and you're like, well, I've been in bed for 2 hours staring at this.
Sure. We got real today. Look, boys, that's a pod.
Well,
yeah, thanks for coming on, Josh. Where do the people go to find Josh Potter?
I have a YouTube channel called The Josh Potter Show. Please subscribe to that. Also, I'm going to be launching a Patreon in 2022 where I'll be doing more gambling content and up-to-date sports stuff.
Oh, cool.
So I'm excited about
more
that.
content.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be doing a pod also on that. And what else?
On top of the Josh Potter Show.
Yes. No, the Josh Potter Show will not change. It'll be the same if you just want to.
We love that. Pay for more Potter.
Yes, for sure. And then I'm going to be going on the road at the end of January, early February. So come on out, take a look. See what's up.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. It was so great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me. Good to see
yeah, man. Hopefully we'll have you on again. And you can find, Jamie will be back next week. You can find Pajama Pants on Instagram.
Somebody said,
yeah,
I feel like they're what's the word? Not like waning, like they're like pushing, like they're slowly not weaning Jamie off of the show, or like they said some shit like that where it's like, so no, it's crazy.
No, the truth is Jamie has a sick son today.
Jack has the flu, guys.
Yeah, so send Jamie some well wishes. By the time this comes out, he'll probably be through it. But it's nice to hear somebody getting just the good old fashioned flu and not COVID. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing. You
the
know
Omicron
these days. But I hope next time I come, she'll be here.
Yeah, she would love you. Great. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe and click the notification bell. That way, you know when our shows go live every Tuesday morning. We are closing in on 40,000 subscribers on YouTube. And we just hit 20,000 followers on Instagram. So we are doing it. And go subscribe to the Josh Potter Show. I'm assuming most people already are because they're all YMH heads. But if you aren't, he's very funny. Go see him do stand up. And until then, we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.